Have you ever noticed that the moment you finally stop caring, the exact moment you let go and stop looking for a man, is almost always the exact moment he suddenly appears out of nowhere? It is one of the most frustrating but fascinating rules of human behavior and romantic relationships. We spend so much of our precious time, energy, and emotional bandwidth trying to catch their attention. We send the perfectly crafted text message. We analyze how long it took him to reply. We make sure we look flawless just in case we run into him. We mold our schedules around his availability, hoping that if we just show him how much we care, how loyal we are, and how amazing we can be, he will finally wake up and realize that we are the one. But what usually happens? The more you try, the more he pulls away. The more available you are, the less interested he seems. It feels like you are pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill, and you are utterly exhausted. Welcome back, beautiful. Today we are going to dive deep into the absolute magic that happens when you simply stop trying. We are talking about the 5 specific things a man will do when you stop looking for him, when you stop chasing, and when you finally redirect all that beautiful energy back into yourself. Let me tell you why this topic is so close to my heart. So many incredible, powerful, smart women are draining their own life force by chasing men who are entirely comfortable doing the bare minimum. We have been conditioned to believe that love requires hard work and constant effort, that if you want a man, you have to fight for him. But the truth about male psychology is completely the opposite. Men are naturally wired to pursue. They are built for the chase. When you do all the work for them, you actually deprive them of the very process they need to fall in love and value you. You take away the challenge, you become predictable. And predictability, my dear, is the enemy of attraction. So, what happens when you flip the script? What happens when you wake up one morning and decide that you are done checking your phone every 5 minutes? What actually goes on in his mind when your presence is suddenly removed from his daily routine? The very first thing he will do when you stop looking for him is experience a sudden drop in his ego, followed by intense confusion. Think about it from his perspective. Up until now, you have been a reliable source of validation for him. He knew that if he texted, you would reply instantly. He knew that if he threw a tiny breadcrumb of attention your way, you would pick it up and be happy about it. Even if he was acting distant, he could feel your energy constantly flowing toward him. He felt safe. He felt comfortable. He felt like he had you completely figured out and wrapped around his finger. But the moment you stop reaching out, the moment your energy completely detaches from him, the silence becomes deafening. At first, he might not notice. For the first day or two, he might just think you are busy. He might even enjoy the space, thinking he finally has time to just play his video games or hang out with his friends without feeling pressured. But as the days roll on and his phone remains completely quiet, a massive shift happens in his brain. The steady stream of validation he was getting from you has suddenly been cut off. The ego boost he relied on is gone. His ego starts asking questions. Why has she not texted me? Did she meet someone else? Is she losing interest in me? Did I do something wrong? Why is she suddenly so quiet? This confusion is absolutely vital for shifting the dynamic of your relationship. You see, when a man is confused about your feelings, he is forced to think about you. He simply cannot help it. His mind will start replaying your last interactions, trying to figure out where things changed. He will wonder what you are doing right now, who you are with, and why you are no longer making him the center of your universe. And the beautiful part is, you are not doing anything manipulative. You are simply living your life. You are just matching his level of effort. By stepping back and letting the silence do the talking, you are forcing him to face the reality of your absence. And as we know, absence is the fertile ground where attraction and longing actually grow. He realizes that you are not a guarantee. You are a prize that can walk away at any moment. And that realization terrifies him in the best way possible. It shakes him out of his complacency. This shift in his mind is just the beginning. The confusion slowly turns into an active desire to regain what he feels he is losing, which leads us directly into his next instinctual moves. The second and third things he will do will completely change the way you see your own power, and they will prove to you that pulling back is the most magnetic thing a woman can ever do. Now that his ego has been slightly bruised and the confusion has fully set in, his mind shifts from wondering why you are quiet to actively figuring out how to get your attention back. This brings us directly to the second thing a man will do when you stop looking for him. He will start throwing out tiny, seemingly insignificant lines of communication. I like to call this the breadcrumb check. Because he is not entirely sure where he stands with you anymore, he is not going to risk full rejection by pouring his heart out or asking you on a grand romantic date right away. Men hate feeling vulnerable, especially when they feel like they have lost control of the dynamic. Instead, he is going to test the waters. He wants to see if you are still waiting around for him, if you are angry, or if you have truly moved on. How does he do this? It usually happens in the most random, low-effort ways imaginable. He might suddenly reply to a story you posted on social media with a simple fire emoji. He might send you a funny video that reminds him of an inside joke you two share. Or, the absolute classic move, he might text you to ask a question he could easily search for himself. He will say something like, "Hey, what was the name of that restaurant we went to last month? Or do you remember the password to that streaming account?" Ladies, please do not fall for this. This is not him suddenly realizing you are the love of his life and begging for you back. This is him throwing a pebble into a quiet pond to see if it makes a ripple. He is checking to see if you will instantly jump at the chance to talk to him. If you reply immediately with a long, enthusiastic message, his ego is instantly validated. He thinks to himself, she is still there. She is still mine. And just like that, the challenge is over. He feels secure again, and he goes right back to ignoring you or giving you the bare minimum because he knows he does not have to work for your attention. But if you remain completely unbothered, if you take hours to reply and just give him a short, polite answer, or sometimes, if the message does not even require a response and you just leave him on read, it drives him absolutely crazy. The pebble he threw into the pond just sank to the bottom without a single splash. He realizes that his low-effort attempts are no longer enough to win your precious energy. He recognizes that you have leveled up, that your boundaries are stronger, and that if he actually wants access to you, he is going to have to step up and act like a real mature man. This level of emotional control is exactly what separates a woman who is constantly exhausted by relationships from a woman who effortlessly attracts the love she deserves. And I know exactly how hard it can be to master this. It takes daily practice to not react, to not send that emotional text when you are feeling anxious in the middle of the night, and to truly ground yourself in your own worth. That is exactly why I am currently pouring my heart and soul into writing a comprehensive ebook for you. This upcoming ebook is going to be your ultimate guide to becoming a truly magnetic woman. It will give you the exact psychological tools to master your emotions, stop self-sabotaging patterns, and naturally draw masculine energy toward you without ever having to lift a finger or chase a man again. I am so deeply excited to share it with you very soon, so make sure you are subscribed and actively checking my videos and posts so you do not miss the official launch announcement. It is going to completely transform the way you navigate love, relationships, and your own personal power. Now, returning to his behavior. When his little breadcrumbs fail to get that big, desperate reaction out of you, he realizes he has a serious problem. He moves on to the third thing. He becomes your silent observer. When you stop looking for him, you create a massive void in his routine. And human beings, by nature, are incredibly curious creatures. Because you are no longer filling his phone with texts, no longer viewing his updates the second he posts them, and no longer showing up exactly where he expects you to be, he has to go looking for information about you. He essentially becomes a detective. Suddenly, he is the very first person to watch your updates on social media. He might not like your pictures or leave a comment because he still wants to play it cool, but his name is always right there on the top of the viewer list. If you run into mutual friends, He will casually bring your name up. He will try to act nonchalant about it, saying something like, "Hey, have you seen her lately? How is she doing?" But make no mistake, beneath that casual tone, he is absolutely desperate to know what you are up to. He secretly wants to know if you are hurting. His ego hopes that you are sitting at home, miserable and crying over him. But what happens when he looks at your life from a distance and sees that you are actually thriving? What happens when he sees you out with your friends, looking absolutely stunning, completely focused on your career, your passions, and your own beautiful happiness? It creates a profound, agonizing sense of loss within his mind. Men deeply value what they have to work for, and they fiercely respect a woman who has a rich, fulfilling life outside of a relationship. When he sees that your universe does not revolve around him, your perceived value in his eyes absolutely skyrockets. He realizes that you are a high-value woman who simply does not need him to survive or be happy. You have essentially flipped the entire power dynamic upside down. You went from being the anxious woman who was waiting around for him to choose her, to being the magnetic woman who is way too busy enjoying her incredible life to even notice if he is paying attention or not. This creates a deep, undeniable pull. It triggers his core masculine instinct to compete, to win you over, and to prove that he is actually worthy of being a part of the amazing life you have built for yourself. He is no longer taking you for granted. Instead, he is sitting there, watching your light shine from afar, wondering how he was foolish enough to let someone so incredible slip through his fingers. He starts to feel the real sting of regret, and that exact regret is the necessary fuel that will eventually force him to drop the games and make a real, substantial move toward you. But his internal journey does not stop there. Once he realizes you are truly thriving without him, he enters a completely new, much more vulnerable phase of emotional processing. The fourth and fifth things he will do will show you exactly how his perspective shifts from simple curiosity to deep, undeniable longing. The fourth thing that happens when you stop looking for a man is that he enters the intense, unavoidable phase of comparison. Let us talk about the grass is greener syndrome. We all know how it works. When a man feels overwhelmed by a relationship, or when he takes your presence for granted, he often convinces himself that there is something better, easier, or more exciting waiting for him out there in the world. He thinks the single life will be a non-stop parade of fun, freedom, and effortless new connections. So, when your silence first begins, he might actually feel a temporary sense of relief. He might spread his wings and venture out into the dating scene, fully expecting to find exactly what he thinks he has been missing. But here is the beautiful, undeniable reality of what actually happens. The dating world is cold. It is unpredictable. And genuine, soulful connections are incredibly rare. As he starts talking to new people, going on casual dates, or scrolling through endless profiles on his phone, a stark realization hits him like a ton of bricks. Nobody is you. Every single new interaction becomes a magnifying glass, highlighting exactly what he lost. He goes on a date, and the conversation feels forced and superficial. He suddenly remembers how effortlessly the two of you used to talk for hours. He meets someone who is overly demanding, anxious, or dramatic, and he deeply misses your calm, nurturing feminine energy. He tries to open up to someone new, and he quickly realizes that they do not understand him the way you did. They do not know his quirks, they do not understand his sense of humor, and they certainly do not make him feel like the absolute king of the world, the way your genuine love did. In this phase of comparison, you are winning every single battle without even stepping onto the battlefield. Because you are not there begging him to see your worth, he is forced to see it completely on his own. And trust me on this, my beautiful friend. When a man reaches a conclusion on his own, it is 1,000 times more powerful than if you try to convince him of it. You can never argue a man into realizing your value. You simply have to let the absence of your value teach him the lesson. As he compares every new experience to the warm memory of you, you transform in his mind. You are no longer the woman who was always available, perhaps a little too eager, or constantly trying to fix the relationship. you become the gold standard. You become the woman who got away. His mind begins to idealize you. He forgets about the little arguments or the minor reasons he pulled away in the first place, and his brain starts highlighting all your absolute best qualities. He remembers the warmth of your smile, the softness of your touch, and the absolute safety he felt when he was in your presence. This is the profound power of stepping back. You give him the necessary emotional space to actually miss you. You allow him to experience the sharp contrast between a world with you in it and a world without you. And let me tell you, the world without you suddenly feels very cold and very empty to him. During this crucial time, it is absolutely vital that you stay strong in your feminine power. The temptation to reach out will be incredibly strong. You might feel a sudden pang of anxiety, wondering if he has completely forgotten about you, or if he is moving on. But you must trust the process. You must trust human psychology. If you reach out to him while he is in this delicate phase of comparison, you instantly shatter the illusion. You relieve his anxiety and remind him that you are still waiting patiently on the sidelines, and his sudden sense of urgency completely disappears. You must remain a mystery. You must remain the beautiful, untouchable prize that he is desperately trying to recreate but failing miserably to find anywhere else. Because you are staying strong, because you are focusing entirely on your own joy and not looking back at him, his nostalgia begins to mutate into something much stronger. It turns into genuine panic. He starts waking up in the middle of the night thinking about you. He hears a certain phrase or sees a specific car on the street, and his stomach drops because it instantly reminds him of you. He starts revisiting old conversations in his phone, reading your sweet messages from months ago, just trying to feel that warm connection again. He looks at your pictures and realizes how incredibly beautiful you are, not just on the outside, but radiating from within. The gravity of his mistake lands squarely on his shoulders. He realizes that he had a high-value, loving, dedicated woman right in front of him, and he let her slip through his fingers because he was too emotionally lazy or too blind to appreciate her. This emotional turmoil is necessary. I know it sounds harsh, but it is the truth about how men operate. A man needs to feel the absolute terror of losing you forever in order to truly commit and value you the way you deserve to be valued. If things are always incredibly easy, if he never has to face the consequence of his own lack of effort, he will never step up to become the strong, devoted man you need him to be. Your complete absence is the greatest, most effective teacher he will ever have in his entire life. And as this panic fully sets in, as the fear of losing you to another man becomes a very real and terrifying possibility in his mind, he is pushed to the absolute edge. He knows he can no longer rely on tiny breadcrumbs or watching you silently from social media. He knows that if he does not take real, deliberate, masculine action right now, you are going to be gone forever, living your beautiful life without him. This internal pressure leads us to the final, most satisfying stage of this entire dynamic. The fifth thing he will do will completely validate all of your patience and show you exactly what a man looks like when he realizes he has finally met his match. The fifth and final thing a man will do when you completely remove your energy and stop looking for him is the very thing you wanted from the absolute beginning. He steps firmly into his masculine energy and takes real, undeniable action. The panic we talked about in the previous phase has now reached its absolute boiling point. He knows deeply that sending a simple fire emoji on social media or a vague, late-night text message is simply not going to cut it anymore. He realizes with absolute clarity that you are a high-value woman who requires a high-value effort. So, he drops the childish games entirely. What does this look like in reality? It means his communication suddenly becomes clear, direct, and incredibly consistent. He picks up his phone and actually calls you just to hear your voice. He asks you out on a proper date, providing a specific time and a specific place, rather than just asking to hang out. He makes future plans and includes you in them. He might even sit you down and apologize for his past behavior, acknowledging that he has been distant, or that he took your presence for granted. He does all of this because the intense fear of losing you has finally overridden his ego and his fear of vulnerability. He is willing to risk rejection because the thought of another man walking into your life and taking his place beside you is absolutely unbearable to him. Now, this is the exact moment where so many beautiful, smart women make a critical, relationship-killing mistake. And I need you to listen to me very closely right now. When he finally comes back, when he finally steps up and gives you the attention and the effort you have been silently waiting for, your very first instinct might be to punish him. You might feel a sudden surge of resentment from all the days you spent crying or feeling anxious over him. You might want to be sarcastic, cold, or visibly angry. You might want to fold your arms and say something like, "Oh, look who finally decided to show up." Or, "Why should I give you the time of day now after you ignored me for weeks?" Please, whatever you do, do not react this way. Punishing a man when he is actually trying to do the right thing is a massive step backward. It pushes him right back into his shell and proves to him that returning to you is not a safe, peaceful, or rewarding experience. If you react with bitter anger, it shows him that you were just sitting there waiting for him the entire time, building up resentment. It shows that your emotional state still entirely revolves around his actions. Instead, what you need to do is master the absolute art of the open and gentle attitude. You need to stay deeply rooted in your powerful feminine energy. When he approaches you with real effort, be receptive, be warm, be polite and kind. Show him a beautiful smile, but, and this is the most important part, do not immediately hand over your entire heart again. Do not instantly cancel all your plans just to see him. You let him pursue you. You let him earn his spot back in your life through consistent, changed behavior over a long period of time. You simply sit back, observe his actions, and decide if his new effort actually aligns with the beautiful, high-value life you are currently living. You become the quiet judge of his consistency, not the anxious victim of his absence. And let us address the elephant in the room. What if you pull all your energy back? You stop looking for him. You focus entirely on your own life, and he never steps up. What if he just fades away completely? My beautiful friend, you need to understand that this is the ultimate win. If a man sees you living your best life, sees your value, and still refuses to rise to the occasion and claim you, he is actively showing you that he does not have the capacity to be the partner you need. The trash essentially takes itself out. You did not lose a great love. You lost a heavy anchor that was holding you back from finding a man who will actually value you without needing to be taught how. Either way, whether he steps up or he steps out, you win. This entire process, moving from the anxious, overthinking chaser to the magnetic, confident woman who simply sits back and receives, is the most profound and powerful transformation you will ever experience in your entire life. And I know from personal experience that it is not always easy. We have decades of societal conditioning to unlearn. We have past heartbreaks and deep insecurities that whisper in our ears, telling us that we have to constantly fight, sacrifice, and overperform for love. But I am here to look you in the eyes and tell you that true love, the kind of deeply committed love that honors and respects your soul, does not require you to run yourself into the ground. Because I want you to master this internal shift completely, I am currently putting the finishing touches on my brand new ebook. I mentioned it earlier, but I need you to truly understand just how life-changing this resource is going to be for you. This ebook is designed specifically for women who are ready to completely rewrite their story. It is for the woman who is tired of giving too much and receiving too little. I will guide you step by step on how to cultivate unbreakable emotional control, how to permanently stop your self-sabotaging patterns, and how to tap into a feminine magnetism so strong that the right men naturally gravitate toward you. It is a complete, practical blueprint for discovering your ultimate personal power and ensuring you never, ever have to settle for emotional breadcrumbs again. Keep a very close eye on the channel and my upcoming posts, because the official release is happening soon, and I want you to be the very first to get your hands on it. Let us summarize the beautiful, empowering journey we just walked through together today. When you stop looking for a man and stop trying to force a connection, you disrupt his entire comfort zone. His ego takes a massive hit, and he becomes incredibly confused by your silence. He tries to test the waters with low-effort breadcrumbs to see if he still has control over your emotions. When you gracefully ignore those breadcrumbs, he becomes your silent observer, secretly watching you thrive and glow from a distance. Then, he enters the painful phase of comparison, realizing that the single life is empty and that nobody else out there makes him feel the way your unique energy did. And finally, driven by the profound, terrifying fear of losing you to someone else, he steps up into his masculinity and takes real action to win you back. The entire dynamic of your romantic life shifts the exact second you decide that your own peace of mind is vastly more important than his validation. You are the ultimate prize. You are the absolute center of your own beautiful universe. The moment you truly believe that down to your very core, the men around you will have absolutely no choice but to believe it too. Stop chasing. Stop forcing. Stop looking for them. Start living for yourself. And watch how quickly they run to keep up with you. If this message resonated deeply with your soul today, if you felt a spark of that undeniable feminine power waking up inside of you as you listened, please leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts. Have you ever experienced a man coming back the exact moment you genuinely stopped caring? I absolutely love reading your stories and connecting with you in the comments section. Make sure you like this video to help the channel grow, and share it with a dear friend who really needs to hear this empowering truth today. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me, for trusting my words, and for doing the courageous inner work to become the best, most powerful version of yourself. I will see you in the next video. Stay magnetic.